Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about Dimir Murktide, also known as Dimir Frog. And we're going to talk about card choices in the deck, the overall strategy of the deck, and how to play the deck. Let's jump into it. So this is Dimir Murktide. Effectively, this is a tempo deck that's looking to one-for-one their opponent by countering spells, by killing creatures, by attacking their hand with Thoughtseize, and then taking over the game with undercosted but very, very powerful creatures. So let's go through this deck. Nothing really to look at in the mana base, just basic blue-black mana base. So we're going to kind of skip over that, but we are playing Preordain. It's a 1-mana sorcery. Scry 2, then draw a card. This allows us to churn through our deck, puts instant sorceries in the graveyard for Murktide Regent, find the cards that we need. We're playing Spell Snare, so 1-mana instant, counter target spell, mana value 2. Most of the powerful cards in Modern at the moment are 2 mana, so this stops most powerful things that are happening. Playing 2 Tamiyo Inquisitive Student, so 1-mana 0/3 with flying. Whenever Tamiyo attacks, investigate. When you draw your third card in a turn, exile Tamiyo, then return her to the battlefield transformed under her owner's control. And transforms into a planeswalker called Tamiyo Seasoned Scholar. It starts with 2 loyalty, and it's +2 is until your next turn. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, it gets a -1, -0 until end of turn. Its -3 is return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a green card, add 1 mana of any color. Its -7 is draw cards equal to half the number of cards in your library. Rounded up, you get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. So it's a very powerful card that allows you to draw cards with your extra mana in the early game, and then it flips into a planeswalker that can totally take over the game. We're playing 4 Fatal Push, just the best removal spell in the format. It's 1-mana instant, destroy target creature, it's mana value 2 or less. Revolt, destroy that creature, it's mana value 4 or less instead of a permanent left of battlefield under your control this turn. It's very easy to do that in Modern with fetch lands and whatnot. We're playing 4 Thoughtseize to tear apart your opponent's hand. It's a 1-mana sorcery, target player reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card and you lose 2 life. It allows you to kind of choose what cards your opponent have and stop cards that are good against what you're attempting to do. We're playing 4 Counterspell, which kind of allows us to do that as well, except on the stack. 2 mana instant counter target spell, so allows us to 1-for-1 our opponents, be able to kind of take over the game, play at instant speed. Playing 4 Orcish Bowmasters. Orcish Bowmasters is a 2-mana 1/1 with flash. When this creature enters and whenever an opponent draws a card, except for the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, this creature deals 1 damage to any target, then amass Orcs 1. So this is a way to play at instant speed and really punish your opponent for drawing extra cards. And also it's a creature that creates another creature and can just kill a 1 toughness creature. So that is also just very good. We're playing 4 Psychic Frog, probably the best card in the deck. It's a 2-mana 1/2. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or a planeswalker, draw a card. So this allows to be combat damage if it goes unchecked. You can discard a card to put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, so you can cash in cards that you don't need. And you can exile 3 cards from your graveyard. This creature gains flying until end. We're playing 3 Force of Negation. Force of Negation is a 3-mana instant. If it's not your turn, you may exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay a spell's mana cost, and you can counter target non-creature spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. So it's a great way for us to be able to still interact with our opponent during their turn, even if we have 0 mana up. Really good against combo decks and whatnot. We're playing 2 Sink into Stupor. It's a 3-mana instant. Return target spell or non-land permanent opponent controls to its owner's hand. So just a cool way to interact for 3 mana. And also we can play it as a land on its other side. Playing 2 Dismember. It's 1 generic mana and 2 Phyrexian Black. Target creature gets -5/-5 till end of turn. For effectively 1 mana, this allows us to interact some more and be a pretty powerful removal spell. Playing Sauron's Ransom. Sauron's Ransom is a 3-mana instant. Choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Then the ring tempts you, which the ring tempting you doesn't really matter in this deck. This allows us to play, again, at instant speed, get that card advantage that we want, be able to fill our graveyard at worst, which is great. We're playing 2 Subtlety. Subtlety is a 4-mana 3/3 with flash flying. When this creature enters, choose up to 1 target creature spell or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on their choice of top or bottom of their library, and we can evoke it and by exiling a blue card from our hand, which just means it gets sacrificed when it enters the battlefield. This allows us for 0 mana to be able to interact with our opponent's creatures and planeswalkers, but also be a threat while interacting with opponent's creatures and planeswalkers while playing at instant speed. We're playing 2 Kaido Bane of Nightmares, a 4-mana planeswalker that starts at 4 loyalty. However, it has ninjutsu for 3 mana, which means when a creature is unblocked, you can turn that unblocked creature to the hand, and it is replaced by Kaido Bane of Nightmares. And during your turn, as long as Kaido has 1 or more loyalty counters on him, he is a 3/4 ninja creature and has hexproof. And has planeswalker abilities of +1. You get an emblem with ninjas you control, get +1/+1, so it essentially pumps itself. 0 is Surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. And its -2 is tap target creature, put 2 stun counters on it. So this makes it really hard for you to block this deck. This is a must answer because it allows you to effectively draw a card every turn, because you're dealing damage every turn. You can deal damage with Orcish Bowmasters or that Kaido or all of our evasive threats or whatever, because this is a planeswalker that can also attack. And then we're playing 3 Murktide Regent. Murktide Regent is a 7-mana 3/3 with Delve, which means you can exile cards from your graveyard while casting the spell, and each card exiled pays for 1 generic mana. So this can cost 2 mana if you exile 5 cards from your graveyard when casting it. It has flying, and this creature enters with +1/+1 counters on it for each instant sorcery card exiled with it. So playing all these instant sorcery cards that we put into our graveyard means that this can enter as effectively a 2-mana 7/7. And whenever an instant or sorcery card leaves your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, which isn't super relevant besides your opponent trying to hate out your graveyard while you have this creature on the battlefield, or exiling cards from your graveyard with Psychic Frog can actually at instant speed pump Murktide Regent, which I'll talk about more in the tips and tricks video I do for this deck. Now, as far as the sideboard goes, we're playing 4 Consign to Memory. This is a 1-mana instant counter target triggered ability or colorless spell with Replicate 1. It's very good against Storm or Eldrazi decks or things like that. We're playing 3 Stern Scolding, so 1-mana instant counter target creature spell with power or toughness 2 or less. Very good against like Energy or really any deck that is playing creatures with power toughness 2 or less. We're playing 3 Harbinger of the Seas. This is a 3-mana 2/2. Non-basic lands are islands. It's essentially a Blood Moon effect. It punishes your opponent for playing non-basic lands. Playing Jace the Mind Sculptor. This is a 4-mana planeswalker that starts at 3 loyalty. Its +2 is look at the top card of target player's library. You may put that card in the bottom of that player's library. Its 0 is draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Its -1 is return target creature to its owner's hand, and its -12 is exile all cards from target player's library. Then that player shuffles their hand and put it into their library. This is just a very powerful planeswalker that allows us to like get an advantage against decks that have a hard time pressuring planeswalkers. Having those brainstorm effects with fetch lands, you know, is just ridiculous. We're playing the 3rd Subtlety in our board. We've already talked about why that's good. We can play that in the sideboard. We're playing a Meathook Massacre. Meathook Massacre is black, and X legendary enchantment. When the Meathook Massacre enters, each creature gets -X/-X till end of turn. And then it's an enchantment that whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. And whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you gain 1 life. Very good against go wide strategies. And then for our graveyard hate, we're playing Nihil Spellbomb as a 1-mana artifact. We can tap it to sacrifice this artifact, exile target player's graveyard. When this artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay black. If you do, draw a card. So this is just awesome graveyard hate and instant speed, and we don't really have to pay mana for it once it's on the battlefield, which is really, really nice. But that is Dimir Murktide in Modern. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.